thank you for coming out tonight. First and foremost, want to thank the Spotify and RapCaviar team for having us. My name is Siobhan. I'm an artist and curator who works in tech as well. We have a couple of really exciting guests getting ready to come out. But first, I want to give a shout out to the Girl Makes Beats team over here to the left. Yeah. We're going to bring up Stitches, who heads up their Miami chapter.
Hello. Let me see. Brad in the building, say yo. Dade County in the building, say Yoda. Over here, Girls Make Beats, say oh yeah. Okay, squad is up. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I go by the name of Stitches. It's great to see everybody. I'm the Miami chapter leader for Girls Make Beats, a nonprofit organization founded by a wonderful friend of mine based in LA now. We pretty much teach girls how to produce, engineer, and DJ, and also pretty much teaching the basics of music business, not just the creative part, but we notice that a lot of artists and a lot of us know that we get creative, but then we lose the business aspect of it, so then it kind of messes up the creative side of it. So just basic business 101 we also teach. So they're spinning the ones and twos. We thank Spotify for having us, and we hope that you enjoy the conversations. Don't be shy about any questions. This is your opportunity. I know we have some singers. Any singers or other artists in the building? Pero mamis, this is your opportunity. Ask the questions. Only stupid question is a question not asked, okay?
Yes, we're going to do a Q&A at the end of the discussion too, so be indexing those questions.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Stitches. All right. Thank you. Clap it up for Stitches. All right, so let's introduce our lineup, our starting lineup. Wow. All right, first up, we have Grammy Award-winning Angela Hunt. Come out, Angela. Trinidad in the building. Wagwan. All right. Next up, we have music curator and DJ Damo. DC, Maryland, DMV. Anybody from DMV or DC? Hey. And last but not least, we have Melly coming out. The amazing. Also performing tomorrow at the showcase. All right.
Good evening. First of all, how you doing? My name is Angela Hunt.
Hey.
Y'all gonna have to wake up, because I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. We ain't used to nothing but liveness. So, good evening.
Here.
There you go. Here, present. What drove me to get into this business was, I have to say that it might sound really corny, but I just feel like I'm a vessel, and it was definitely a calling that I had nothing to do with, because there's nobody in my family that's in music. Everybody's in the medical field, and so I had nothing to put music to. But all I know is I kept hearing voices in my head telling me that this is something that I needed to do. I know it sounds crazy, but it is the absolute truth. And so I followed it. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised in NYC, baby. And it was the most amazing childhood. You gotta envision Fulton Street, Biggie on the corner rapping, Kim, Puffy, just all of us just striving to make it in this business. And, it's something that I can't really explain. It's just something that I knew I had to do.
Right. I think it's also interesting that, we're in Miami. Obviously, we have Trina, Cash Doll, Melly. We have such a strong lineup tomorrow at the show. And that's also just another show of intergenerational dynamic and really a movement right now happening with women in music, especially women in hip hop and women rappers who are killing it right now and killing it together with camaraderie and community. So I'd love to hear too, on your end, Melly, just kind of how you're feeling right now, kind of being at the epicenter of that, and just kind of thoughts on that right now and sort of this unity that's cropped up again with hip hop and women.
Hello. Hi guys. Hey.
I feel like it's a blessing, honestly. I feel like it's not a lot of like, oh, who's better than who. And I feel like it's, honestly, it came from us setting that tone first and setting that example. And I feel like probably in the beginning of the year, there was probably like a little conflict which could have put us all to be like on some weird shit, you know? But I guess we just all...
This bigger message of there's no one way to do anything. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path is different. There's no one recipe for success or superstardom or being a great rapper. DJ Damo, I'd love for you to talk about just kind of how you got into this and even your background pre-music and how you broke into stepping into purpose yourself.
I don't know if we have enough time for that.
Hey, make it work, make it work.
In a nutshell, I've been a full-time DJ the last almost 2 years now. Prior to that, I had been DJing 2 years before that, but hadn't stepped into it fully. I used to be an environmental analyst for the U.S. Department of Energy prior to that, during the Obama administration. I quit around the time that Trump came in because they just flipped our agency upside down. I also had never really been totally passionate about that subject matter. I just knew it was important. And because I was working around such inspiring people with the Obama administration, it really encouraged me to stay for as long as I did. But a few life events led to me really delving into music and DJing full time. That was one element, that administration coming into play. And then I had a lot of personal traumas that happened that really just triggered me to dig into it fully. Had experienced a really bad depression, and honestly, DJing literally saved me from sinking lower into that space. So it really did save me and change my life, and inevitably, because I went into it not necessarily to make money or to be anything with it, just because I loved it, it grew. And then as it grew, I did too, and then I just put fire behind it, in a nutshell. So.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. And thinking back to humble beginnings, I'd love for everybody to sort of think back to what moment you considered as your big break moment. Or even people, specific individuals who've helped, add to your journey and give you opportunities that you're grateful for, that sort of set your path. Melly?
I think a big part of like having the support would be like when I went viral doing a remix from Bodak Yellow and stuff, and then I put out my single Icy, and Rihanna showed me love, and then from there Meek actually saw me from Rihanna, so I guess that would be a big moment in my career where both people that saw me, obviously like they're at a different level and they rocked with me, so that would be like a stepping stone of mine.
Amazing. Anybody else? Angela?
I've had a couple, to be honest. I had probably one of the first ones I had was with Left Eye right before she died. I was working on her album and she told me, she was like, yo, I just want to leave you on the hook. And I was like, really? She was like the first artist that kind of just wanted to use everything that I did on the record that I did for her. Have him as my mentor for so many years. And then I think the last thing that is super important to add for me was Empire State of Mind. To be a woman, to write that record, to co-produce that record, to have someone that I grew up with in Brooklyn record that record, and then to have Alicia jump on the record was probably the most monumental thing I could possibly think of. You couldn't write that story. To wake up in the morning and then see the Yankees win and to see the mayor go, now we have a song for our city. You could pinch me 1,000 times. It will never, ever, there's nothing I could ever compare, aside from having my kids. It's probably a moment in my life I'll never forget, because I don't want to say it to make it feel like, it's a woman thing, but I want the young girls to know that not just we didn't just write that record, we also produced that record. It's important for you to know that this is something you can aim for as well, It was hidden for a long time until we actually started to talk about it. Because I, in the beginning, was actually even scared to say it. That I was like, I'm a producer on the record. It's like, you know, till one day my publisher was like, stand up tall and say that you produced this record as well, because I wouldn't have this record if you didn't give it to me. So it's important to know that, you know, it's great to be singers and be in front of the scene and everything, but it's also important to know that we're also behind the scene as well.
Thank you. Yes. Breaking ceilings.
What's being fed to kids this age as far as media and content and oversaturation is true, but there is a plethora of things for them to absorb musically. It's about what they choose, right? And kids go through phases, and whatever pop music looks like is what pop music looks like. So if that's pop rap, that looks kind of, you know, less substantive, and then there's like pop R&B that may fall in that same category, but there are equally substantive artists like Melly and like Ari Lennox, like Lucky Day, like, you know, other artists that do create that type of music.
But they're fighting.
It's the radio though.
They're fighting.
The
you guys are fighting.
We are.
To make a difference, but you're not being supported.
Yeah.
But wasn't Tribe Called Quest having that same fight? Wasn't Lauren having that same fight? They were fighting them too. So it's no different, right? Like that fight is still the same, right? I think that what we're afraid of is just like the digital piece of it feels scarier because it feels like so much more oversaturated when really like they're still there. Like it's not like substance
but what
music.
does it boil down to?
Is it thriving? Because it is.
Everybody's trying to hold their spot and make that bag.
And it's whatever, listen, right? It's like me, being honest. I stopped rapping, right? But it was more so because I've always been a hard-headed person, like, and sometimes I like to experience things myself. Like, you tell me no, I'm like, I'm gonna go.
I'm a 16-year-old singer-songwriter from here, from Miami. So my question is, I'm still in the early stages of my career, you know, like I just started. And like my question is, what should be my next step? You know, I have music out on SoundCloud, YouTube, nothing on Apple Music yet, so I'm just starting. So what should be my next step as an artist?
My fault. No, I sorry. I heard everything you said, by the way. I heard on stage. No, I'm sorry. I think something you should take away from like all of us were saying was like social media is big, right? So you're beautiful, by the way. You gotta know that your image also goes with it too. So like put out some videos, you know, like get into like, it doesn't have to be like the most expensive videos, but you could start off small, and then within the time, also pair up with other artists. Other upcoming artists, you probably bounce off ideas and new things that you want to do, and also get help, you know, because there's always, it's who you know, you know?
I think you should look into classes so that you can perfect what you're doing and learn different ways to go about it. Like however you've self-taught, right? Like you've learned yourself. You should maybe look for a mentor, look for someone you can work closely with that can teach you how to perfect your skill and do it better, because like where you are right now isn't where you're going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So you should be just constantly working. It should be your homework after your homework, right? Like to be working on it and getting better at it every day.
I would say as a singer, I learned to record.
And RapCaviar family for
Thank you,
having us.
Spotify. Thank you, RapCaviar.
Thank you. We're excited for tomorrow in Miami.
So
Let's get it. All right, we're closing out. Thank you.